All right, so I'm going to take this time to talk to you about your two upcoming semester-long assignments, or they're not semester-long, but they're bigger than just the weekly stuff. So, your first assignment is the brief topic analysis, which is listed in your syllabus. It's listed on week 11. So, in keeping with what we talked about with having things due on Mondays, having things due on Mondays. So it's due by 11:59, Monday, April 6th. So the Monday after week 11 ends, so technically that's in week 12. So note that that's a change from the syllabus. Due in Dropbox by then. So the brief topic analysis is basically just any topic, any current topic in any way related to health psychology. Something that a health psychologist would work on, and your book is full of that, such as stress, coping, HIV, AIDS, cancer, pain management, so on and so forth. Any techniques they use, we have covered several coping techniques. There'll be other techniques down the road. Any other concepts from the book that you really want to explore. A famous health psychologist and his or her contribution. In Chapter 5, we talked about some of the different explanatory styles and stress coping styles. So any psychologist that has a real bearing on today's thought that you would like to look into. Also, anything that you found in any of the websites that you perused through the first 2 weeks. A lot of that was good information that you informed yourself on. So any of that you want to explore further. Anything that you're interested in, because that will make it easier for you to write about. Because I know everybody loves to write about things, so at least, even if they don't really, at least it's something that's slightly interesting to you, you'll work just a little harder. So you're going to create 7 to 10 PowerPoints. Not, like in one package. So 7 to 10 slides. So a PowerPoint slide reel. Not counting the title or the reference slides. That explores a topic. So, for example, and I hate to give examples because then I have 2 or 3 of them, so I'm going to say right now that leeches is going to be my example, and nobody can use leeches unless they write me to say, oh, that's exactly what I wanted to do. And then only one of you will get to use leeches. So, maybe nobody out there is interested, I'm just saying. Alright, so that'll be first come, first serve. So, leeches, for example, I find it fascinating that leeches have made comebacks over the last few decades to be used in modern medicine again. And if somebody does pick that topic, I'll let you explain it to us, but it has been found to be a better management tool. It sounds like something that was lost in the dark ages, but has made a comeback and been very important. You'll post this PowerPoint slide on the forum that I'll create, and then we'll all look through them. So it's a learning opportunity for everybody. So, these should be very specific topics that you can tell us a lot about, not just, health psychology in general. That's way too broad. You're going to need to use 3 to 5 peer-referenced sources, so PsycArticles, PsycInfo, and cite those appropriately in APA style. And as much as possible, articles from 2005 or later. If you need 1 or 2, well, 1 really if you're only using 3 to 5. If you need 1 article that, goodness, I'm sorry. If you need 1 article that is well before 2005, fine, but try to keep them as current as possible. Alright, so I am going to show you really quick. I'm sure most of you know, but I'm just reminding and making sure. So, whoops, I didn't even say what I was doing. So we're gonna go to the databases. Databases are important. So do not Google anything. Do not find things on the web. Anything that you do find on the web that you want to use, that's in addition to these 3 to 5 articles. So you're going to the Southeast webpage, click on Kent Library button. When you get to this page, you're clicking on this little button here that says Articles and Databases. And then you have this big list of articles and databases. Now, depending on your topic, some of these others may make more sense. Like you might need to start with Academic Search Complete. It's much broader. But if any of you are doing anything psychologically related, I always suggest you start with PsycArticles and PsycInfo. PsycArticles actually first. So most of these are the same way. You can check a lot of them out. You just get to it and you type your topic in. You can be more specific and put an and, click search, and then look, 7 articles. Now there might be different articles in PsycInfo, so it's good to check both. But, you know, habituation of the shortening reflex in the medicinal leech. That might sound way too over your head. You know, that's not something I'm going to probably read and be fully interested in, but you might very much be. Comparing it to literature for 1913 on the behavior of the lower invertebrates. Although that is pretty old, so that could be one of your articles, but not too many. So, FYI to that. So, also see here where it says PDF full text or HTML full text. That means those are available. You know, you might look for topics that have a lot of those available so that you can write about them. If you end up with a topic that you can't find any articles or books on, what good is it to you then, obviously? So think ahead. If you have your topic so narrow that nobody's even written about it, that's a problem. But if it's so broad that everybody has written about it, maybe you need to narrow that topic down a little bit. If you have questions about narrowing it down, then email me and we can talk about it. All right, so that is what you're going to create. The last couple slides are going to be your references of 3 to 5 reference sources. So it should say references at the top. It should have the author's last name in this format, and I've typed this exactly how it needs to look. The date of the article, the title of the article with the first word capitalized, and then proper nouns capitalized, but everything else is lowercase. These lines are indented 5 spaces. The journal article is italicized, and the volume number is italicized, and then the page numbers are not italicized. You don't need anything else to that. Now, if you get a book, it's slightly different. I didn't actually put one on here, but it's the general format, and if you do use a book or two, then I will tell you how to do that. Just email me. But assuming that most people are going to use articles, I don't want to confuse you too much. So this is the format. Don't add things. Don't have the computer do it for you. Do it exactly like it's listed here, and don't call it works cited. You are upper-level psychology majors in a lot of cases, so this is APA style, and this is what governs the field. So if you do not understand it, then certainly email me, but make yours look like this. I'll be looking for these examples. If you have 2 authors, you're going to put them in the order that they're listed on the article, with comma and ampersand, and then so on and so forth. And then your overall reference list will be in alphabetical order. All right, so that is the information for brief topic analysis. It's not meant to be overwhelming. It's just explain some topic to us, and you don't have to fill your PowerPoint with just line after line after line. It can be a few sentences here and there. It is up to you how you are going to handle that. But we want to be informed. That's the main point. All right, so health behavior analysis. That is the other topic, the other assignment that is due a change again from your syllabus. It's been moved to the Monday after the week it's listed on. So it will now be due in Dropbox by 11:59 on Monday night, May 4th. These we won't share. I made a little mistake on won't, but we won't share them because you're probably going to be doing some personal work on this. That other one's just informational, but this is a little more personal. So you're going to make a list of health behaviors that you could change or stop, or health behaviors you could increase. do it more. But either way, it's stressing you that you are doing certain behaviors or that you're not doing certain ones enough. I had asked you during week 1 to start thinking about this. And so hopefully you have in the back of your mind, some of the behaviors that you do. This could be behaviors that are physical in nature that we see. This could be thoughts that you continually have, negative thoughts about yourself. This could be about your weight. This could be about eating disorders. This could be substance abuse, addiction. This could be poor decisions that you're making that are putting you at risk for leading toward diabetes. This could be about poor decisions you're making, putting you at risk for AIDS. This could be about some pain and how you're not appropriately managing it. This could be about anything also, just like the other one, but it's tied more to you and your actual real experience. And you can couch that in the chapters, like the chapter on exercise and sleep. Those are two things that people often report they don't have enough of. Or being addicted to stress, any of that. So you're going to make a list of some behaviors. And when I say a list of health behaviors, try to be really, really, really specific with this. Because, don't just say, I bite my nails. That's an extremely light one, health issue. That is, what does that do for us? What does that tell you about yourself? It's going to be hard to use throughout the semester. So make this very specific and very detailed and about you. It's a little bit of self-exploration, whether you want to do that or not. It's sometimes good to do. All right, then you're going to do an ABC model analysis, and I'm going to show you that on the next slide. And then after you've done an ABC model analysis on 2 or 3 different behaviors, you're going to choose the one that's most important to you or makes most sense to you, that you can understand the best, and then that is going to be your project. So, and I would write this out on a piece of paper and think about your behavior in terms of ABC. So B is the behavior. Whatever it is, something specific and intricate about you. Whatever it is, and I'm not even going to say an example because that leads everybody down a path. But please don't pick something like procrastination or you could pick something like pessimism if you're going to be really, really, really detailed about how your pessimism is specific to you. Don't just say pessimism. All right. So the behavior exists. Antecedents, A, are what lead to you doing the behavior and or what is happening around the same time as the behavior. So what happens to make you do your behavior? Or who is present when you usually do your behavior? Or where are you when you usually engage in this behavior? What environment is present that probably triggers is a good word, what leads to you doing the behavior, and or what happens around the same time or in the same place as the behavior. Those are the antecedents. It's always important to think about those. What is helping cause this? So then antecedents lead to the behavior, and then the behavior has consequences. And these are not consequences like we usually think of, like, this thing is going to happen or that thing is going to happen. This is more, what is maintaining your behavior? Obviously, if you haven't stopped whatever behavior this is, it's doing something for you. So what are you getting for doing it? What are you getting out of it? That's what's a consequence of the behavior. It exists because of the behavior that then reinforces the behavior to continue. So write out some examples. That will form the beginning of your little analysis paper. You're going to take that ABC analysis and the behavior and explain it in writing. So just write about it. And then explain it from a biopsychosocial perspective. You could get out your little art supply programs on your computer and draw some boxes and put some of your own ideas in them. We practiced that a few weeks ago. So, I'm envisioning this being like a little, not like a journal or a scrapbook along with a little report mixed in. I'm not saying it has to look a certain way, but I'm telling you what you should explain along as you go. So you've written down and told me about your analyses, and you've told me about the behavior, and then you've described it from a biopsychosocial perspective, what biological, psychological, and social factors weigh in. Then you're going to explain the stressor in terms of Chapter 4 information. So you'll go to Chapter 4. We've covered a lot of that. You have a variety of information to pull from. Is it a daily hassle and why? Is it due to crowding and why? Is it due to, your SAM and why? So you're making use of some of the jargon and the language and the concepts from the chapter. Then you're going to go to Chapter 5, and you can use anything from Chapter 5, but I think at least take some time and pick one technique from Chapter 5 on how to cope with it, and apply that coping strategy to it for a week, and just write up a little paragraph of what did you find out. Like maybe maybe you say very negative things to yourself on a very regular basis, as more people do than are willing to admit. So you go to cognitive restructuring under CBT, or even better, somebody do expressive writing and try that for a little while. And then report how did the behavior change, or did it? And then pick another one. I'm asking you to do at least one, but it'd be great if you did 2, maybe 3. Do one technique at a time and see if it makes a difference. And of course, in the grand scheme of things, we would do things for much more than a week. But as long as you practiced it, that's all I'm looking for you to make some real-world use of some of this information. Then you go to Chapter 6, which obviously we're covering next week. But Chapter 6 has to do with primary prevention and positive psychology. So you could couch some of your attitudes in terms of tertiary prevention, or use some positive psychology ideas, or things that you're not doing. Why aren't you? Like the neurobiology of resilience. If you don't feel that you have any, then where is that? How can you get more? Or how is that maintaining or enhancing or impacting the behavior you've picked? There's all kinds of topics from each chapter. So throughout the semester, what I want you to do is every time we go to a chapter, think of your topic in terms of that. So you're kind of building this paper a paragraph or 2 at a time each week, so that you'll have several paragraphs by the end of it. Some chapters may have nothing to do with it, but I bet you'll find something in every chapter that has something to do with your behavior. Now, once they get more specific, like, there's one chapter just on cancer. If your topic isn't related in any way to cancer, then maybe you won't have anything from that chapter. But keep an open mind. So what you're going to turn in is a collection of thoughts and observations and maybe some data that you kept. Like I said this to myself today. I cognitively restructured today, blah, blah, blah. I did deep breathing for a week, and this is what changed, or this is what was different. So a collection of thoughts, observations, maybe some data about your behavior as you move through this course and learned a little bit more in each chapter. And then wrap up with your final conclusions on what do you know more or differently about yourself, including somewhere in different places along the way, 2 to 3 references, just as was discussed in the previous assignment. Now, I know that a lot of people do not like fuzzy assignments like that, but in this case, you're just going to have to deal with it, because that's the more interesting assignments. If I told you exactly what to write down, then guess what? I would read 30 of the exact same sentences, one after the other, from everybody. So play with this. This is not something that I'm looking for the exact answer. I'm just looking for some self-exploration, but you really do have to think of this along the way. I thought about making little checkpoints, but I don't think I'm going to try that this time. I'm going to learn. If that becomes a mistake, I'm going to learn this semester from that mistake and do it differently next time. So you have a while, but you should try to think of this assignment every week from here on out. So it's kind of started last week and this week and moving forward. So I know that there'll probably be questions, but really read this and think about it and listen to it and give yourself some time to think, what behaviors might I even pick before you start writing me, and then we can discuss. And feel free to write me and say, hey, this is the behavior I'm thinking I'm going to pick, and then I can help you decide, is that specific enough, or say, oh yeah, that's a great one, go with it. So that will get you going for now, and I'll talk to you again soon.